Hello, Internet. How are we this wonderful evening? Well, it's not a slow news day, is it? Well, it rolled nice to see you. We got some stuff going on, don't we, guys? I mean, it started off. Everybody's already forgetting about the Epstein news from earlier today. Let's not forget about the Epstein news. We got the big Trump stuff going on, but man, what I I can't say. Actually, I called this. I've been saying this was going to happen, and I thought California might lead the charge on this. I feel like other states are going to follow suit. Uh, this whole thing is insane. If you guys haven't heard, I'm sure you guys all have already heard, but Trump has been. The Supreme Court in Colorado has ruled to take Trump off the ballot, and yeah, that's happening. Well, the Epstein news, I know that was this morning. That was a long time ago. Yeah. All right, let's check and make sure we're live on all the platforms. How's everybody doing this evening? Everybody doing all right? Casey Martin, Cinnamine, nice to see you. Let's actually forgot to do something. Before the show started, like a moron. Sorry about that, guys. All right, let's see here. Got to fix something really quick before we get going. Yeah, I know. The Epstein news does feel like ages ago. It was all the way this morning. Unreal. So a judge with giant cojones also ruled that they're going to release the client list. So I don't know what that means. Because don't we already have the flight logs? So I don't know if this is everybody that visited Epstein Island is what's getting released. We're going to look at it. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. That's for sure. All right, let's check it out. Let's get in. I want to get into the Epstein stuff a little bit first. I just want to talk about it, at least go over it, what's going on with it. So at least a brief overview. I was going to go all the way down the Epstein rabbit hole tonight, but I don't think we're going to have time to do that because I'm going to rant and rave about this Colorado Trump nonsense for a bit. So let's go over to End Wokeness. He summarized this pretty well, I think. So End Wokeness says here. There we go. All right. So this is from earlier today. This conservative federal district judge, Loretta Preska, she just ruled to unseal the secret court docs that name 177 people who were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, so I wonder how they were involved. I wonder what that. I'm going to be very curious to see what info comes out. But it's even set for release in the first days of 2024, she says. So this is coming out soon, you guys. Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of preemptive. I don't know. You think people will out themselves? Rochelle, nice to see you. I don't know if people will actually out themselves about this. Hey, if you guys are over on the X platform, say something in the chat. I haven't seen anybody from the X platform. I want to make sure chat's working over there. Actually, let me make sure I'm streaming over on the X platform really quick. Yeah, if you guys can hear me over there, try to say something in the chat, and yeah, we'll see if it's actually working. It's nice that I can see the X chat now. Casey Martin, they are going to burn this country down if the Epstein list comes out. You put they in parentheses. Who is they? Well, what do you mean? Like if we're talking about the cathedral, you know, they're already destroying everything from the inside. So I don't know, like the border thing right now. I talk about this every show, which I want to talk about a little bit tonight, but I'm probably not going to have time. But the stuff that's happening at the border right now should just be red flags for everybody. The amount of people that are coming across the border every single day it can't not be intentional. It's madness. It's absolute madness. So little unsure. So yeah, I am streaming over on the X platform. So let's see if there's a. What up, Danger? How you doing? Mike C, thank you. All right, cool. So looks like the X platform chat is working. I love that that's working over there now. So I can see chat from Rumble, YouTube, and X now. I love this. All right. So Yeah, that's really the news that came out about this. So they're going to release 100 secret court docs that name 177 people. Yeah, we'll come back to this. I want to talk about the Trump stuff. This is the Trump stuff's just madness. I'll come back to the Epstein stuff because I do want to go down the Epstein rabbit hole a little bit, but I was going to make this whole episode about that. I was going to do sort of like an overview of the whole Epstein thing, just what's known, what's speculated. I was going to play a lot of clips from Whitney Webb. Whitney Webb is really the go-to source on all things Epstein. So, all right, let's go to the beginning here. It's unreal that this is really happening. So, all right, so this is from, let's go to Laura Loomer here. So Laura Loomer, breaking, the Colorado Supreme Court has just disqualified President Trump from being on the GOP primary ballot. This is election interference, this is what Laura Loomer says. And I believe this is the document from the Colorado Supreme Court. Yeah, you know what, Wally World? That is weird. Scarlett didn't. Yeah, you guys. I didn't even notice. Scarlett didn't come say hi. What is that about? Scarlett, are you weird? Scarlett. Scarlett, come here. Are you weird? All right, come say hi to everybody. Thanks for reminding me, Wally World. All right, I was a little worried for a second, actually. Come say hi to everybody. Why didn't you say hi? This is the first time it's ever happened, isn't it? Wow, that was interesting. Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Wally World. I don't know what happened. Why didn't you come say hi when the show started today? Just not feeling it? I don't know. I let him run around in the rain today. She got pretty excited about it. Okay. All right. You can go back and lay down. Okay, go lay down. You know what I think it is? She might have been. I yelled at her because she was laying on my pillows earlier. She's not allowed to lay on my pillows. She's only allowed to lay on one very specific spot on the foot of the bed. She likes to go lay on my pillows. It's like, you're already on the soft bed. Why do you got to lay on the pillows? All right, that's enough of that. Okay, let's read this document from Colorado. This is from the Supreme Court, number 23 SA 300. Anderson v. Griswold, election law, 14th Amendment. First Amendment, political question, hearsay. In this appeal form, a district court proceeding under the Colorado Election Code, the Supreme Court considers whether President Donald J. Trump may appear on the Colorado Republican presidential primary ballot in 2024. A majority of the court holds that President Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution because he is disqualified. It would be wrongful. It would be a wrongful act under the election code for the Colorado Secretary of State to list him as a candidate on the presidential primary ballot. The court stays its ruling until January 4th, 2024, subject to further appellate proceedings. So they stayed their own ruling because they know it's going to get challenged and the Supreme Court is going to see it. So this better happen fast. Because you guys, what if the Supreme Court doesn't overturn this? Remember, everybody's like, we sort of, not with this, but we've been here before waiting on a really important ruling from the Supreme Court, and it wasn't that long ago. Do you guys remember this? Like, this was a very stressful time for me. I was super stressed out during this time. It's funny how things ended up working out, but you guys remember Biden tried to make every company that had 100 employees or more, private companies, tried to make it so if they had 100 employees or more, they had to take the vaccine. You guys remember that? And I was working at a company that had under 100 employees, barely under 100 employees, but it was still under 100 employees. But I knew that if that went through, it was going to be all other companies too. Like if the president could say that in order to work in this country, then you got to take. I knew it was just shortly after it was going to come from my company too, and there's no way I was going to do it. So I was going to lose my career. Like I was fully prepared to lose everything over the vaccine. Fortunately, I was at a company that I thought was really cool and like they didn't have any mandates, and there was a lot of people there that think like a lot of people that watch this show. Terry Wallace, nice to see you. Yes, there is a appellate deadline for January 5th, is what I heard as well. So we were all waiting on that ruling, remember? But the Supreme Court ruled on two different things. They said that Biden couldn't do that. He couldn't force private companies with 100 employees or more to take the vaccine. And that was huge. That was great for us. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court said it was okay for them to force the military and force medical workers. Remember that? That wasn't cool. Like, this thing never, like, looking back at that, the Supreme Court should be ashamed of themselves now. Like, look back at the whole emergency use authorization thing. The vaccine never should have even been out on the market. The vaccine never should have been put in arms, ever, in the first place. All of the effective treatments, the alternate treatments for COVID that probably ended up being more effective than the vaccine itself in terms of treating COVID and keeping people out of the hospital, keeping people alive, that sort of thing. Alternative treatments were probably more effective than these shitty vaccines that came out. That's just my opinion, YouTube. Well, the alternative treatments got super suppressed because if there's any sort of alternative treatment, then the vaccine can't go on the market. It can't get an emergency use authorization if there's alternative treatments available. It has to go through the same ordinary process that any other vaccine would. Like, the whole thing was super nefarious. So then the Supreme Court ruling that medical workers and the military have to take it. This isn't like other vaccines. This is still under an emergency use authorization, even though they're like, it's FDA approved now. Poof, like, whoop-de-doo. That whole thing was super nefarious. So my point is, the Supreme Court's already let us down, you guys. Why is everybody so certain that the Supreme Court is going to be like, yeah, you know what, Colorado can't do that? If the Supreme Court says that Colorado can keep him off the ballot, do you think there's not going to be other states that follow suit with this? And there's going to be a whole bunch of states that keep him off the ballot? This is bad. This is really bad, you guys. This is, I mean, let's see. Sorry. I was, got a little behind on the chat there. Let's see. Yeah, the mandate's ruling. B says, what's going on? Danger. Taking Trump off the ballot is deep state's first major shot in the Civil War. Yeah, no kidding. So that was kind of what I'm saying too. Like, even if people are using arguments like Colorado wasn't going to vote for Trump anyway, and I don't know about that, but like California, for example, if they would have done it in California, it was like 33% of the vote went to Trump in the 2020 election. Well, according to the ballots, but that's still like 6 million people. That's a ton of people. And if all of a sudden just states decide, yeah, you guys can't vote for the guy that you want, and they're trying to use this super wishy-washy argument with the 14th Amendment that I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I'm not even having the argument. This is so obvious to everyone that's been paying attention what they've been trying to do. They've been trying to set this up. They have been setting this up for years now. This whole thing's super nefarious. It's straight up election interference. And we'll get into, okay, so I read that document. It's foreign election interference too. So it's looking like, let's see here. There's some Soros effery going on. Terry Wallace, Supreme Court should have seen this coming. Hopefully they are ready. Well, that's what I'm saying. What makes you so confident the Supreme Court's going to overturn this? They've let us down already with the mandates for medical workers and the mandates for our military. You know, I don't know why people think that like Amy Coney Barrett isn't just as much of a deep state person as anybody else or anybody else that's on the Supreme Court. I don't know. I don't trust any of this crap. It sucks that it's coming down all the way to the Supreme Court. Like this is our that's the end of the line, guys. The Supreme Court has to step. It's Colorado State Supreme Court. You know, like there's one step away from the end of the line. If they rule, if the Supreme Court says that they can do this, yeah, civil war. Casey Martin. Let's see. Yeah, they should. They should have seen it coming. But I don't have confidence the Supreme Court is 100% going to overrule this thing. Cinemy, do you think this will force SCOTUS to finally look at the 2020 election fraud claims? Well, they dismissed them on standing before, right? Like all of the claims that they dismissed were on standing, and the one that they wanted, the one that the Supreme Court was actually considering wasn't even a fraud case. It was the case brought by Texas against Pennsylvania, I believe, because Pennsylvania violated their own state constitution in what they did with their elections. And Texas was arguing that because Pennsylvania didn't abide by their own election rules, according to their state constitution, that Texas was injured by that, because it's a United States election. So Supreme Court dismissed it on standing, saying Texas doesn't have the right to sue Pennsylvania they're saying that they weren't injured because it's Pennsylvania's election. They're just not a party to it. So that wasn't, the Supreme Court didn't look, they dismissed stuff on standing. It was yes and no. I don't think they will look at anything from 2020. That ship has sailed, I think. I mean, unless I'm missing something. So this is from Travis and Flint. This is a cool account to follow. This dude's awesome. I like him. Very large account on X. So the group who sued to keep Donald Trump off the ballot in Colorado received over 1.35 million from George Soros organizations, and they share employees with Media Matters. Media Matters, guys. Same people going after X for the whole advertisers thing, saying that white supremacist content showed up next to advertisers, and they started that whole boycott of X, with Apple and all those other giant companies that aren't advertising on X anymore. Media Matters. So the same people that work for Media Matters also work in these organizations that received funding from George Soros. And I want to see what his documentation is on this, but he says this is foreign interference in our election. Not only should Soros be arrested, the group CREW and Media Matters should be fully investigated and shut down. How much longer will we allow elections to be rigged by foreign billionaires who want to destroy America? All right, what's his documenting? Where's he getting this from? Okay, so someone comments saying, like, where's the receipts on this? And Travis says, I'm working on it. Yeah, we need receipts on this, dude. You can't just claim this without posting. Yeah, you gotta, when you make a claim like that, where like you obviously saw those numbers somewhere, 1.35 million. Yeah, you got to post your sources on this, man. You can't just write this up. I'm not saying he's wrong. It's just, you got to. Yeah, well. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt, but that's the rumor. So that's all I'll say it is right now, is a rumor. I won't say that's confirmed just because I don't see any source on it right now. But that's what he's saying. And let's I got Alex Jones. So I'm not gonna play this whole thing. I just want to show how awesome this is. Look, you guys, Alex is back. Alex is. You go on X, and Alex Jones is posting his own stuff, his own clips. You see this? Look at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic Party just stole the 2024 election long before the polls opened.
So look, he's creating content specifically for X. Twitter, whatever. You guys call it whatever you want. I'm sort of calling it back and forth. I really wish he didn't change the name, but it really is a different thing now. It is a different thing. It already feels like a different thing. Just the way you can use the platform, it's not the same thing as Twitter was. It is much more versatile now with the video streaming. I mean, now just with the chat, that's much cooler. So, yeah. Let's see. Danger. There'll be a bunch of stuff going on in Georgia regarding 2020, and it's also making the case against Trump in Georgia probably get thrown out. Is there still a case going on in Georgia about 2020 election? All right, so I just wanted to show you guys that Alex Jones is making content directly for X. This is a 5-minute video of him talking about all of this stuff, but Vivek Ramaswamy came out and gave a statement, and I want to read his statement. So, and I believe he's the only candidate to have come out and made a statement about all this stuff, and kind of surprising. You would think everybody would make a statement on this. So, all right, it's kind of a long statement from Vivek, and it was just right off the bat, immediate. So he says, this is what an actual attack on democracy looks like. An un-American, unconstitutional, and unprecedented decision. A cabal of Democratic judges are barring Trump from the ballot in Colorado, having tried every trick in the book to eliminate President Trump from running in this election. The bipartisan establishment is now deploying a new tactic to bar him from ever holding office again. The 14th Amendment, I pledge to withdraw from the Colorado GP primary unless Trump is also allowed to be on the state's ballot. And I demand that Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, and Nikki Haley do the same immediately, or else they are tactically endorsing this illegal maneuver, which will have disastrous consequences for our country. Man, that is sort of strategically genius right there. He put all three of them just right on the spot. Now they have to respond. That was sort of, man, that was pretty smooth. Okay. Today's decision is the latest election interference tactic to silence political opponents and swing the election for whatever puppet the Democrats put up in time by depriving Americans of the right to vote for their candidate of choice. The 14th Amendment was part of the Reconstruction Amendments that were ratified following the Civil War. It was passed to prohibit former Confederate military and political leaders from holding a high federal or state office. These men had clearly taken part in a rebellion against the United States, the Civil War. That makes it all the more absurd that a left-wing group in Colorado is asking a federal court to disqualify the 45th president on the same grounds, equating his speech to rebellion against the United States. And there's another legal problem. Trump is now a former officer of the United States. Officer of the United States. As the term is used in the Constitution, meaning Section 3 does not apply. As the Supreme Court explained in Free Enterprise Fund v. Public Company Accounting Oversight Board 2010, an officer of the United States is someone appointed by the president to aid him in his duties under Article 2, Section 2. The term does not apply to elected officials and certainly not the president himself. The framers of the 14th Amendment would be appalled to see this narrow provision intended to bar former U.S. officials who switched to the Confederacy from seeking office being weaponized by a sitting president and his official allies to prevent a former president from seeking re-election. Our country is becoming unrecognizable to our founding fathers. Okay, so there's that. All right, man. All right, I need to change this screen. I can't read. Does this happen to any of you guys? I've heard it happen to other people. So I can't have a dark screen when I'm reading at night. Like I have to have either the blue screen or the blaring white. If I'm reading white letters on a black background and I look away and like shut my eyes, I see white lines. Like when I shut my eyes, I see white lines. It's not good. It's no bueno. I'm not stoked about it when it happens. And just reading that short thing right there with the black background and the white letters, it totally screwed up my eyes, and I'm not happy about it. So I need to switch the background. Every time I switch the background, it always reverts back. It's annoying. So, all right. Okay, so that's Vivek's response. He made a video too. So let's watch this video from him. So he already said he's going to withdraw, and he wants all the other candidates to withdraw, or they're basically bitches, is what Vivek's saying. Vivek is saying, I'm withdrawn from the Colorado primary. I'm withdrawn from the ballot, the Colorado primary ballot, and all the other candidates should too, or else they're little bitches. That's basically what Vivek just said. Okay, all right. That took forever. Hold on. All right, let's see what he has to say. He posted a little 2-minute video here.
They have just tried to bar President Trump from the Colorado ballot using an unconstitutional maneuver that is a bastardization of the 14th Amendment to our U.S. Constitution. This was a provision, Section 3, that was designed to bar Confederate members, people who switched to the Confederacy, from actually being able to serve. That's very different than what's at issue here, to say the least. This is a hollowed out husk of what the country was built on. The basic principle that we, the people, select our leadership, not the unelected elite class.
Is he on an airplane right now?
In the back of palace halls. That's old world Europe, not the United States. That's why I'm making a pledge today that
No, never mind. He's driving down the road. He's in an RV. He's in his. I'm pretty sure he's in an RV driving down the road right now. You can tell by how it's shifting around and just the whole scene. Sorry, I'm weird.
will withdraw. I pledge to withdraw from the Colorado GOP primary ballot unless and until Trump's name is restored. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Chris Christie and Nikki Haley do the same thing, or else these Republicans are simply complicit in this unconstitutional attack on the way we conduct our constitutional republic. I refuse to be complicit in that. I think what they're doing is wrong. And I think it's up to Republicans to step up and stand up with a spine for our country's future. That's really what's at stake, whether we, the people, actually have a say in deciding who leads this country. Yes, it would be easier for other Republicans like me who are running in this race to say, hey, if Trump is sidelined, there's our opportunity. No doubt other candidates are probably privately celebrating with their corporate sponsors. That's not the right thing to do. I think the most useful thing that every GOP candidate can do right now is to join me in that pledge. I'll say that I will withdraw from that Colorado GOP primary ballot until Trump's name is restored. This belongs to the people, not to the unelected Democratic cabal of judges in Colorado or any other state. And I demand that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and Chris Christie do the same thing, or else they're complicit in what this security state is trying to do to shut down Trump. I stand by that, and I expect them to do the right thing.
Damn, did he just... Yeah, he is super slick. Did he just... Terry Wallace, yeah, that was right on point. He's super slick. And he's got like a... I really like his jacket, too. I'm sorry, I'm weird right now. I like don't want to like Vivek. There's something that seems... There's something suspicious about him to me. But I'm falling for him. I'm a little bit... I got a little bit of a man crush on Vivek. Look at his jacket. He's wearing like an aviator jacket. And he's pulling it off. And I don't know, man. He is just really freaking slick. And did they take what he just said there and that was just a transcript that I read right now? Or is he just that good at like memorizing lines and paraphrasing stuff that's been written down for him? I can't do that, you guys. Like, this dude's a politician. I've always been like, I can't be an actor because I don't think I could memorize lines. I would mess that up. So, sorry. Vic is a little too slick. Trey Wallace, you like him? You'd probably like him in real life. Yeah, he is fearless. No, there's something that, I don't know. Something seems off about him to me. He's too good. Like, that's his thing. Yeah, He always says the right thing. Yes, Rochelle. Yeah, yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. He always says exactly the right thing. B Sizza, the dark background is easier without other light in the room. Maybe I should try that. They have a blue background that you can use as well. So, all right, that's Vivek's response. Lots of other people talking about this too. But I mean, that's really the gist of it. Colorado's trying to take them off the ballot. Well, they did. The Supreme Court's going to rule on it. Oh, okay. There's also so the Trump campaign put out a statement on it. You should read it. Unreal. I can't believe this crap is. Well, no, I can believe it's happening, but it's just so crazy. Like, it's once a week there is some sort of breaking news that's like, what? Just that's absolutely banana balls. Elon has the same jacket. That's funny. Vivek pulls it off way better. Like Elon wearing you're right. I recognize Elon wearing a aviator jacket, and it when Elon wears it, it's like Elon wearing an aviator jacket. You know, when Vivek's wearing it, it's like you barely notice. You know, I don't know. He's pretty slick. B says, "Oh, as far as they say all the right, as far as how they say all the right." Oh wait, I'm sorry. I forget who it was. Somebody compared Vivek to early Obama. How he says all the right things. Yeah. That's a pretty good comparison. Obama is super slick. I will give you that. All right. Here's the Trump campaign statement. It sounds like Trump wrote this himself. So, unsurprisingly, the all-Democrat appointed Colorado Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump supporting a Soros-funded left-wing group's scheme to interfere in an election on behalf of crooked Joe Biden by removing President Trump's name from the ballot and eliminating the rights of Colorado voters to vote for the candidate of their choice. Democrat, that's a long sentence, but it wasn't a run-on. It's a long, good sentence. Democrat Party leaders are in a state of paranoia over the growing dominant lead President Trump has amassed in the polls. They have lost faith in the failed Biden presidency and are now doing everything they can to stop the American voters from throwing them out of office next November. The Colorado Supreme Court issued a completely flawed decision tonight and we will swiftly file an appeal to the United States Supreme Court and a concurrent request for a stay of this deeply undemocratic decision. We have full confidence in that the United States Supreme Court will quickly rule in favor and finally put an end to these un-American lawsuits. That's from Stephen Chung, Trump campaign spokesperson. Okay. I don't know. I'm not so confident in the Supreme Court. Not after how they ruled about the COVID stuff. Like that was insane to me that they said it was okay for the federal government to mandate all workers take the COVID vaccine with everything that we knew. Like when that happened was super late in the game. Remember? Like this was way late in the game. We already knew how effective when that was up in the air, when the Supreme Court was ruling on if the federal government could force medical workers and the military to take it. At that time, we already knew that it wasn't working very good against whatever variant we had at the time. What was that? When we had Omicron at that time? I'm pretty sure that's what time it was. We already knew that it wasn't it didn't have a lot of efficacy against that variant. We also knew that it didn't stop transmission. Like that was the biggest thing. How could you force a mandate? We knew this. Anybody that actually looked honestly, that information was out there. It was very clear. It did not stop transmission at all. So any of the mandates so the Supreme Court ruling that they were okay to do that was freaking madness to me. Northside, how you doing? Yeah, the Obama comparison is pretty on point. Yeah, all right. So that's Trump's statement. I don't know. I'm not super confident in the Supreme Court, you guys. And if the Supreme Court fails and says no, Colorado can do this, Like, really think about what happens if Supreme Court rules and says Colorado can take him off the ballot for the primary. Other states are going to take him off the ballot for the primary. And that's why I think all of the other stuff is going on with the, Chris Christie and freaking what's her face and Vivek and DeSantis. They've been planning this for a very long time. They don't want they're perfectly fine allowing the American people to choose from candidates that are approved by them. It feels like everybody but Vivek. Vivek feels like a plant to me. That's just the vibe I'm getting from him because he's so perfect. Because he always says the exact right thing. He just feels like a plant to me. So I don't know. That's just me being tinfoily. I don't trust anyone. All right. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. The Trump story. Just Colorado. This thing's playing out. This thing's really happening, guys. It's freaking insane. Unreal. All right. So let's go back to some of this Epstein stuff because I do want to talk about that. This stuff's crazy. So I'm just going to go to a Whitney Webb video. Well, actually, one of the people, the Bill Gates stuff. So I've played this video a million times, but this is one of the most telling videos to me. This is like going back and looking at it again, this and his TED Talk when he said, if we do a really good job with the vaccines, then, we can reduce the global population. It's like some crap like that. You're like, wait, what did you just say? Like he was talking about it reducing the global population. It sounded like he misspoke, like he accidentally said something, but he really, no, I should have pulled that up. But this, he sort of says something like, to me, it sounds like a threat. Like, if you guys haven't seen this video, I'm sure you have, but Epstein and Bill Gates were pretty chummy from the reports of it. But let's and Bill Gates
was reported at that time.
Bill Gates is very uncomfortable talking about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. But I'm going to play this quick clip and watch to the very end. And just, does this seem like a threat to you guys? It does to me. It seems like he was mad that she followed up because she asked a question. He responded, and he was hoping that would be the end of it. And then she followed up and pushed even more, and that pissed him off. And he's essentially telling her to back off. That's my take on this.
Was reported at that time that you had a number of.
Oh, Miss Mo, you agree with Vivek being a plant? Yeah, I don't know. That's just me being tinfoily, but he's too perfect. He's just too on point all the time. Everything he says, he's just Johnny on the spot.
Meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, who, when you met him 10 years ago, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors. What did you know about him when you were meeting with him, as you've said yourself, in the hopes of raising money?
I had dinners with him. I regret doing that. He had relationships with people he said, would give to global health, which is a interest I have. Not nearly enough philanthropy goes in that direction. Those meetings were a mistake. They didn't result in what he purported, and I cut them off. That goes back a long time ago now. So there's nothing new on that.
It was reported that you continue to meet with him over several years.
So he says when he says, and there's nothing new on that. That's where he wanted it to be the end. And then she starts following up again. Just look at his frowny face. This upside down frowny face. He's mad. He is mad that she's following up with another question here. And this is where it gets interesting. This feels like a threat to me.
And that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do when you found out about his background?
Well, I've said I regretted having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so in general, you always have to be careful.
Is there a lesson to be learned for you or for anyone else looking at this? Well, he's dead, so in general, you have to be careful. I'm sorry, what? Okay, that just sounded like a threat to me. Back off, lady. That's what it sounded like to me.
And I'm very proud of what we've done in philanthropy. Very proud of the work of the foundation. That's what I get up every day and focus on.
Okay, Bill. All right. Whatever you say. He doesn't seem too stoked being questioned about Epstein. All right. Well, I'll play a quick clip from Whitney Webb talking to Jimmy Dore about Epstein. But okay, if you guys aren't familiar with the whole backstory of Epstein, I mean, Alex Jones has been talking about Epstein for like 20 years. It's longer than that. I mean, I've heard Alex Jones talking about this I got introduced to Alex Jones back in like 2009. That's when I first discovered Alex Jones. And it's because I was dating a girl that loved Alex Jones. And this is back. There used to be a show called, anyway. Alex Jones has been talking about Epstein for a long ass time. He's like, there's this island. I think he used to call it Orgy Island, is what he called it. And then the plane, the Lolita Express, like he's been talking about this shit forever. And it sounded super crazy. And he was like, yeah, it's this island where they take like high profile politicians, celebrities, people with lots of influence, people that are high level decision makers. They would take them there and they would get them in compromising positions with girls. And Epstein recorded everything. He documented everything. And he would get dirt on everybody. So it was just this high level blackmail thing. And nobody really knows who exactly Epstein worked for. Whitney Webb to me is the person that I see most confident and most knowledgeable about this. And she seems to believe that he was Mossad, that he was Israeli Mossad. And that's what his whole thing was, just getting people in compromising positions, getting blackmail on them, and then getting them to do whatever they wanted them to do later on down the road. And that's how you get so many people to do your bidding, is you got dirt on them and so many people to do your bidding and stay quiet about it, not talk about it. So Whitney Webb has a great book called One Nation Under Blackmail that all you guys should read on this, because this really does tie into so many other things. Just the Epstein thing is huge. Its tentacles reach far and wide, and everybody should be familiar with the Epstein stuff. So, Dan, do you think he was Mossad? Yeah. I mean, Mossad or CIA, right? But like most people say, Mossad. Yeah. But all right. This is Whitney Webb talking to Jimmy Dore. You guys, if you aren't familiar with Whitney Webb, her most recent really big podcast was with Patrick Bet-David. You should go back and listen to that one. That was a great podcast. But she has a book called One Nation Under Blackmail that you guys should read. She's done a ton of podcasts, just goes way down the rabbit hole. But when she does podcasts, she's kind of like me. Actually, I should say I'm kind of like her. She's way a million times smarter than me. But she goes off on tangents. She can get off in the weeds sometimes talking about stuff because she knows so much that she feels like she has to give a lot of backstory to everything. Anyway, I'll let her talk to Jimmy Dore. You guys can get a sense of this whole Epstein debacle.
writing this book is how sexual blackmail pops up over and over again in various big events and scams.
Sorry, Casey Martin. Casey Martin adds the Bill Clinton and the George W. Bush paintings Epstein had are telling. So from my understanding, Epstein only had, I believe, the George Bush one and the one, or the Clinton. He only had one of them. From my understanding, Epstein only had one of them, but the other painting was done by the same artist. It just wasn't Epstein's. So I think there's three of them too. There's the painting of George W. Bush playing with, it shows two collapsed Jenga towers on the ground, and George Bush playing with paper airplanes on the ground. And then there's another painting of Bill Clinton sitting sideways in a chair with his legs over the armrest and his back on the other armrest, wearing Monica Lewinsky's blue dress. And there's another one too. There's quite a few of them that are just strange. But from my understanding, only one of them was actually Epstein's. But fact check me on that. So, all right. Sorry. Whitney Webb talking to Jimmy Dore.
This book is how sexual blackmail pops up over and over again in various big events and scandals in U.S. history. And so part of what I'm trying to show, and a big reason why I wrote Volume 1, is to really break apart the mainstream media narrative that Jeffrey Epstein was an anomaly, that his behavior was exclusive to him, and now he's dead, so none of this stuff it doesn't matter anymore. This is a type of activity that has been done over and over and over again in our political system, and it was it was a move, and it's a type of operation really that was perfected first by the mob. So, this is something that's really born out of, in my opinion, this organized crime intelligence team up. And now, it's just been going on for an excessive amount of time at this point.
So here, let me give this to you as a jumping off point. This is more from the description of the book. It says this book specifically.
I'm going to pause them really quick and say, do you guys notice that they both have the exact same microphone? I really want that microphone, you guys, really badly. That's the microphone that everybody has, and it sounds so good, and I really want that microphone. It will be mine. It will be mine.
Explores how the nexus between intelligence and organized crime directly developed the sexual blackmail tactics and networks that would later enable the sexual blackmail operation and other crimes of deceased pedophile and sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Other books on Jeffrey Epstein focus on the depraved nature of his crimes or his wealth and his most famous politically connected friends and acquaintances. But this book, in contrast, reveals the extent to which Epstein's activities were state-sponsored through an exploration of his intelligence connection. So tell me about, so when the Pizzagate thing happened, right? When Pizzagate broke, that story, I didn't pay much attention to it, but what did catch my eye was what I thought was an overreaction to a bunch of people online saying that there was a sexual pedophile ring in Washington, D.C. And I'm like, well, first of all, that sounds completely reasonable to assume that there's a sex pedophile ring servicing powerful people in Washington, D.C. That's not crazy to think that could happen. And then I just lost my chain of thought. So that they overreacted to that. Just like Seth Rich, if you even mentioned it, you were banished from society. You couldn't ask questions about it. You couldn't cover it. You couldn't do anything. And I was just like, what is going on? Why are they overreacting to this Pizzagate thing so much? Why do they have to? Why is that? And then you find out it's because there actually is a pedophile ring happening, and it's sponsored by the intelligence community.
So, and on that note, the main journalist that debunked Pizzagate, didn't he just get arrested for child word that starts with a P? Didn't that just happen? Aren't a bunch of the Pizzagate debunkers getting busted for, Pizzagate doesn't seem to be so debunked anymore. The whole Comet Pizza and having a basement and all that crap, just. the Epstein Island crap turning out to be true woke up a lot of people. And this happened before COVID, right? Like when Epstein got arrested and all this stuff. This happened before COVID. And I mean, that woke up a ton of people. And then COVID happened and tons of people. If you were never going to take the vaccine, if you were of that mindset from the beginning, you had a different life. You lived in a different world than everybody that either was going to take the vaccine the whole time or was on the fence about it and decided to take it. You lived in a different world because everything just intensified more and more and more. For those of us that from the beginning, we're never going to take it. Absolutely not a chance. There was a handful of us. In California, not a lot of us. I believe it was only 19% of Californians didn't take a single dose. They didn't take any of the vaccine. So those of us that were never going to take it, the propaganda was so off the charts. And I think we might have noticed it more than everybody that decided to take it, because not everybody that decided to take it, but people got propagandized. And there's a lot of people that took it that, you know, people have to justify taking it. Like, you know, if you don't want to think, yeah, I put something in my body under my own free will, even though I was coerced, but I decided to do this and I could be putting my health at risk. People don't want to think about that. They don't want to let that be a reality. So a lot of people, their mindset changed when they decided to take it. They all of a sudden were just like, you know, just take the thing, you know, it's safe, it's effective. Like their whole thing switched. And I know this might sound difficult for you guys to understand. It might sound like I'm being weird, but I know you guys, a lot of you guys understand me when I'm saying this right now. Those of us that were never going to take this thing, it really feels like we lived a different reality because the propaganda just jumped out at you so freaking hard everywhere, especially if you're in California. We held a lottery, you guys. Gavin Newsom put on a freaking lottery. Just take the vaccine, please. Just take the vaccine. They gave out donuts. They gave out free weed. You guys remember that? It was joints for jabs. Do you guys remember that? It was freaking madness. They're bribing kids at schools with pizza parties. Everywhere you drove, you know how they got those digital signage on the freeways? Don't forget to take your updated COVID-19 booster. It was everywhere. And I really think those of us that were never going to take it from the beginning, and as things increased more and more, it jumped out at us so much more because we weren't having any sort of cognitive dissonance. We weren't grappling with this, you know, oh crap, I put something in my body that I probably didn't need to, and it could have some negative health effects for me down the road. That was never entering our minds. I personally can't think. I would be freaking out like every night. I would be paranoid just thinking about, oh, this crap is in my system. We're only a few years out from this thing. Like we're still, I'm sure, not seeing everything that. Yep, I know you, Danger. I know you were a never vaxxer. Wait, what? You got a mic for me, bro? Dude, that is the same mic, huh? The Shure SM7. I think that is the same mic, dude. Casey Martin, you're a 19%er as well. Yeah, I know you guys get what I'm saying. The propaganda jumped out at you so much more, and yeah, sorry. My whole point of saying that was like the Epstein thing woke up a ton of people. COVID woke up a ton of people because there's plenty of people that were never going to take it that weren't. That was the thing too. If you didn't take the vaccine, you were a Trumper. There's tons of people that like hate Trump, that don't like Trump, that consider themselves Democrats. A lot of people completely switched like political affiliation, were completely kicked out of the club because they were, you know, they considered themselves liberals, they considered themselves progressives, all that stuff. and I'm sure there's actually a lot around here where I live that are there. We have a lot of really natural, holistic, naturopathic type people around here that are hippies that, do not like Trump at all, do not consider themselves conservative at all, highly liberal, like hippies that just, they don't, but they eat really well. They shop at freaking New Leaf Market, or freaking Wild Roots. It used to be called New Leaf. They're very natural. Like they don't take medications. They take holistic approach to all that kind of stuff. So there's tons of people that were just, wait, well, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a conservative. What are you talking about? Why are you calling me all this stuff just because I don't want to take the vaccine? So this is a huge wake up call for a ton of people. And there's been a lot of these little red pilling events all over the place the last 4 years. And Epstein was one of those. Sorry, that was a really long-winded explanation there. Got like 2 more minutes of this video to play. Wally World, the AES were off the chart. What is AES? The AES were off the chart even early on, so I was like, no way, it's too dangerous, and we had early treatments. Yeah. What is the AES? Yeah, and the scariest thing about VAERS. Oh, VAERS? Oh, okay, I got you. And the scary thing about VAERS was that it deemed untrustworthy because the injuries and deaths were underreported. Yeah, exactly. Like the VAERS, the adverse events reported to VAERS were freaking way underreported, and they were already off the charts for the vaccine. Okay. All right. Let me finish this video.
It involves a bunch of really powerful people, like part of the royal family and Bill Clinton and people and Hollywood stars and people like that go to Jeffrey Epstein's island and have sex with kids. And we know this for a fact, and there's a flight log. And so I guess that was, just like when the Wuhan virus, people were.
Sorry, I got to interrupt again. You guys remember RFK, like preemptively, a couple weeks ago, came out and started talking about how he was on, how he flew on Epstein's plane a couple of times. He actually brought his family on Epstein's plane, and it seemed strange. It seemed out of place at the time, and now this comes out. So I don't know, just saying, a little suspect. Whitney Webb is also. Everybody defends Elon because there's that picture of Elon with Ghislaine Maxwell behind him, and he's saying she photobombed me. But Whitney Webb is saying there's much more of a connection to Elon with Epstein than she's not so trustworthy of Elon. I'm not trustworthy of Elon either, but she talks a lot about how he has, like government contracts and contracts with intelligence agencies. So he's got to play ball,
Speculating that COVID started from a virus that was engineered in a lab in Wuhan, China, and they immediately have to overreact to that and say you're a racist if you think that, right? So that's again your flag. My bullshit detector went off. You guys are overreacting too hard to that, and so what you are saying is that.
Sorry, and on that note too, like with how people react with crazy vitriol, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, this seems like a really excessive reaction from you. Wait, why are you upset? Like, I'll just use my personal case. Why are you upset that me, a 37-year-old ultra marathon runner that eats really well, I don't have any comorbidities, like none, I don't have asthma, I don't have anything. Why are you so upset that I'm not taking this vaccine that doesn't stop transmission? Why? Again, like the vitriol, it didn't make any sense. It was so misplaced. It didn't make any sense. And that's when like red flags should start going off to you. But Goss, most of the left still thinks these vaccines are a good idea and back them. Unwilling to look unwilling to look at it publicly. Even though only 10% got the latest booster. yeah, it's like this. There's this dual thing going on. It's like people don't trust the vaccine enough to take it anymore, but everybody's like, well, you know, everybody still should have got it because it kept people out of the hospital and it reduced symptoms. It's like, even though all the people that are still getting really sick from COVID all seem to be vaccinated people. I'm not seeing any unvaccinated people that are getting really sick from COVID still. I mean, unless it's their first time getting it, and I don't even know then. I don't know if I've had COVID. I really don't. Like, I'm unsure if I've ever had COVID. So, yeah. Okay. Let this video finish.
That Jeffrey Epstein isn't a one-off. This isn't some anomaly inside of our culture. This is a regular classic CIA psyop, or it's classic CIA program to do this. This is how they get powerful people under the CIA's control to do their bidding. This is probably why Donald Trump didn't release those JFK files on his way out the door, because the CIA didn't want him to do it, and they probably have blackmail material on him.
Like, there's plenty of complaints that I have about Trump. So even though, and I will say unambiguously, I am voting for Trump, even though I have a ton of complaints about Trump, tons of things that he did that I did not like, do not agree with, can't stand that he didn't pardon Snowden and Epstein on his way out, his bump stock ban, that he one time talked about freaking taking the guns and asking questions later, said some crap about that. The whole, well, obviously COVID, did not fire in Fauci, the lockdowns thing, tons of printing, tons of money. But even the Soleimani thing, even when they blew up Soleimani, even though it's kind of gangster, the way that just sucks because I'm super anti-war, and I don't like that Trump just did that. I don't think that was legal what he did, but then he just does it and throws up the American flag on Twitter. He just totally doubles down. It's like, yeah, I did it. It's like, damn, you almost have to respect it, though. I do not agree with it. So twist my arm on that, make me change my mind. But yeah, that wasn't cool. I wasn't down with that. Danger. The Alpha strain in December 19, and I haven't been Oh, you had the Alpha strain early on. Oh, that's really early on. Been 4 years, and I usually get sick once a year. Yeah, I usually get like really sick once every 2 or 3 years, like really sick, and that's kind of it. You know, I'll get the sniffles every now and then, but when I get sick, it's like I get sick, and I got really sick back in like 2021, I think. But I even went and got the stupid PCR test that we all found out are BS anyway. Why have to shove the thing all the way up into your brain? You know, I wish I never would have got those tests, but yeah, I never tested positive for COVID, so I never know if I had it. Wally World, yeah, I'm not vaxxed and I haven't had COVID that I know of. Had one mild cold last year, and that's all. Yeah, there's a lot of people that just don't know if they had COVID. So you can go get the antibodies tested stuff, but my doctor, even though my doctor's a douchebag, he's the one that told me that I should get vaccinated. I did a whole write-up on him. Yeah, he said that even the antibodies test isn't 100% accurate.
Writing this book is
sorry. All right, that's enough of the Epstein stuff. I'll do a whole Epstein episode. Maybe I'll do a whole Epstein episode when they release the list. That's probably what I'll do. We'll go over the list. We'll go over the different people. It'll probably be a longer episode. It'll probably have to be like a 2-hour episode. That'll be at the beginning of the year. There's this so I'll go a little long tonight, you guys. This video that my boy Max put out. It's so just jumping over to some California news. You guys, they want us to drink the pee, you guys. So you know how they want us to eat the bugs? Klaus Schwab, you will eat Z bugs. Well, now it's you will drink ZP. So this is happening. They're trying to recycle our tap water. So this is from our friend Max Bonilla over here. California to start toilet sewage into clean water, drinking water. I'm sorry. California to start turning toilet sewage into clean drinking water. The State Water Resource Board unanimously approved 63 pages of detailed rules that outline what will happen between flush and faucet. This is unbelievably disgusting. Allegedly, all the chemicals and bacteria are going to be scrubbed from the water, but I wouldn't be so sure. And unbelievably, this nasty recycled water is going to be more expensive than imported water. At this point, I'll stick with imported product. Say thank you to your local progressive virtue signaling environmentalist. This doesn't make any sense to me. One of my big things is water infrastructure in California, because we have a drought every 5 to 10 years, and we had tons of money put aside for water infrastructure, shoring up our reservoirs so we keep them at capacity, more percolation ponds. I would like to see another water tank initiative, have more local water tanks. I would like to see water distributed and spread out and stored in smaller, but a ton of smaller tanks everywhere. I would even like to start like a backyard water initiative. I think every household that has a backyard, like an actual yard, should have a, 50-gallon tank, 100-gallon tank. That's your water reserves. Like everything goes to shit. Everybody's got 100 gallons of water in their backyard. Pretty nice, that we could do this type of thing where we have an actual initiative to get people to put water tanks in their backyards. Start building local water tanks in neighborhoods, gravity-fed stuff, having more percolation ponds, more small reservoirs in places, all sorts of stuff. There's all sorts of stuff we could do that I don't know about because I'm not even a water guy. Just all sorts of stuff. I'm not reading that one, Danger. Rainwater catchment is what we should all be doing. Yes, 100% of that too. So, catches, like an initiative to that would be great. Water tanks in people's backyards, and then they're catching their own water type thing too. Yeah, with water filters built in. An initiative to make people more or less reliant on the state. They're doing this water initiative where they're going to turn poop and pee into drinking water, when instead they could, which makes you more reliant on the state, right? It only comes out of your faucet. Well, if you had, instead they could make an initiative that makes us less reliant on the state, and everybody has their own water and everything's more locally stored. It's the exact opposite of what you want to do if you want to make people more self-reliant. Okay, sorry. Let Max actually explain this thing. So I guess they do this. This is a legitimate thing that they do in some cities, and it is very expensive, but I guess it works. Let's listen to Max explain it. Max is awesome.
Hey guys, this sounds totally gross, but you're gonna have to let me know what you think. California approves rules that turn sewage water into drinking water. Yeah, so the State Water Resources Board unanimously voted to send this recycled water into our tap systems. And mind you, this program was mandated by state law. Yeah, your legislators whom you elect are the reason why this is happening. And they're claiming that the purification and treatment rules are extensive. Let's see how that holds up. The facilities are yet to be created, and this water is expected to be more expensive than traditional drinking water. What? Sewage water is going to be more expensive than the drinking water that we get that is imported? I'd rather have that at this point. This new law mainly impacts big water suppliers that deliver potable water supplies to homes and businesses. Let me know what you think. Hey guys, this sounds...
All right, this is from Max Bonilla. You guys give him a follow. Andrea, I know it's pretty gross, right? So that's actually happening. There's no reason for California to do this. California is always in drought, right? Everybody's always talking about, like, for some reason people think California doesn't get a lot of water. We get tons of snowpack. We get tons of rain. Like, a lot of people don't realize that the Santa Cruz Mountains, the tiny little mountain range that I live in, has creeks that are running year around. We don't get snowpack here. We have creeks that are running year round. How is that? Because mountains act like, think about a cup. It's got a bunch of holes shot in it, right? And then you pack it with a bunch of rocks and put dirt around it and stuff. You fill it with water. Well, that water's going to start leaking out, and it's going to find little holes, right? That's basically a mountain. That's what happens here. You know, you got all these underground pools of water that leak out, you know, and as the summer goes on, they start leaking out slower and slower and slower. And, you know, some of the seasonal ones dry up, but there are some that run every year up here. Well, we let a lot of this water run out into the ocean. Granted, more reservoirs you build, like we have Lexington Reservoir. You guys are familiar with the Santa Cruz Mountains area, Los Gatos. Lexington Reservoir, well, there used to be a town there. There used to be a town there called Alma, and it's under the water. So that is what reservoirs do. They do displace a lot of land, so it is something that should be, you know, thought about. We can't just go building tons of reservoirs everywhere all willy-nilly, but we can build more small reservoirs all over the place, you know, like little ones that aren't raising the water level too high. There's all sorts of ideas, things that we could do that'll catch more water before it goes out into the ocean, and we just don't. And again, I say it all the time. I think we had a ton of money put aside back in like 2017, 2018 for water infrastructure, and we haven't done anything with it, and now we have like a major budget deficit. So it's, yeah, a whole bunch going on. Casey Martin, you think this is a humiliation ritual? I think they just wanted to make us more reliant. This water is everything, right? Water is life. If shit hits the fan and the state controls the water, they control you. They control everyone. So I don't know. That's kind of what I think this is. Or it's just not nefarious at all. It's just a really, really stupid idea. You know, it's more expensive. The facilities aren't even built yet. It's like, what the heck are you guys doing? Okay. All right. I think that was all I wanted to talk about there. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about California too much tonight. There was a couple other little things I did want to at least read the headlines on before we got out of here. More reliant plus humiliation is a twofer. Yeah, okay, I can see that. That's from Vigilant Fox. I wanted to read that whole thing, but can't do that. So some more shenanigans from Colorado. This is from Colorado Parks and Wildlife. A historic day for Colorado, and for the first time ever, we released 5 wolves, 3 males and 2 females, in Grand County today. Captured in Oregon, the wolves were evaluated by our veterinarians and biologists, fitted with GPS collars, and transported to Colorado for their release. Okay, this just seems like a really bad idea to me. Why? They're going to decimate like the deer population out there. It just seems like a really bad idea to me. Freaking Alec Baldwin went off on some protester like he just acted like Alec Baldwin. All right, we talked about the Red Sea stuff yesterday. Yeah, okay, that's basically it. That's all I wanted to get into, I think. Unless there was a quick San Francisco thing I wanted to talk about, possibly. Yeah, no, just more of the same. Yeah, no, we'll talk about that stuff tomorrow. Actually, no, I won't even be here tomorrow. I'm going on a, so let me check up with the chat here. Sorry. You have a buddy that, Danger. I have a buddy that works for the UN, and he told me about 8 years ago that water is going to be what countries go to war over in the coming future. Oh, that's encouraging. Didn't they release Trump from the ballot there too? Yeah. That's what I was talking about at the beginning. It's, yep, Colorado. Yeah, I know. That was the very minor story coming out of Colorado today. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I will not actually be doing a show tomorrow night because I'm going on a show tomorrow. So called The Elephant in the Room. I don't know. I don't think it'll be live. I'll be recording it tomorrow at 4:00. So I'm not sure. And then Thursday morning, I will be recording another show. That's just a radio show that I'll be doing out of Tennessee. And yeah, things are picking up, you guys. It's definitely getting interesting. So Andy, no worries. Thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. It's awesome. Yeah. So things are getting interesting. I won't be here tomorrow night. And what is this? This is episode 98, you guys. 98. It's crazy. Episode 100. It feels like this is actually a thing now. And yeah, this is what I'm doing. Those of you guys that are still here, that are following what I've been doing, and I'm like unemployable. You guys, it's insane. And I swear my best friend doesn't believe me. He like doesn't believe what's happening. It's like, well, bro, why don't I have a job? Because it's madness. It's the same thing happens every time. And this last place I was trying to get in with seemed like it was going really well. And I was actually honest with them. I told them everything that happened about the mask, Tucker Carlson, everything. And it went really well, I thought. They ghosted me, just like everybody else. Same exact thing. They just ghosted me. You guys, I used to work for a company, and the only reason I would leave that company to go to another company is because I got recruited from another company, and they offered me more money to leave the company I was at to go to the other company. I've been doing AV for 18 years. I worked for a lot of high-end companies, really reputable companies, and I led a lot of really not well-known but high-end jobs that I could point at and say that was mine, and it wasn't hard for me to find work before. I can't find work now. So this is what I'm doing, you guys. It's strange. I'm running for office and trying to start my own thing at the same time. So this is what I'll be doing for the next year, trying to keep a roof over my head. And now that I am running for office and this is my address, I got to keep this roof over my head. So this is my address on all of my paperwork. My website's built. I'll be launching it as soon as I can get my freaking bank account set up. The banks do not know how to do a campaign bank account. They are not too familiar with that. And tomorrow will be day 3 of that process. But once that's done, launching the bank account, launching the website. I got my third-party like campaign donations thing set up. It's ready to go. It's really happening, guys. Can't believe it. So, all right. Those of you guys that are still here, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. I will be back. Geez, what is today? Tuesday? Yeah. So I will be back on Thursday night for another episode of CaliBased, episode 99. So I will see you then. See if check in with the chat. See if there's anything else. All right, cool. I think we're good. All right, everybody. If you're still hanging in there, please give that like button a tap, retweet, all of that stuff, subscribe. Yeah, everything, all that good stuff definitely helps with the show. If you would like to contribute, there's a little tab in my Twitter bio that you guys can tap if you want to help the show. All right, Rochelle, everybody have a great night. Rochelle, Casey Martin, Northside, Angie, Danger, Wally World, Goss. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it. B Sizzo, Mike C. A lot of you guys in here tonight. Terry Wallace, Cinemy. All right, all you guys. Nice to see you guys. Hit that like button before you get out of here. But before we get out of here, we gotta read a joke from the greatest book ever written. It's Truth about Chuck Norris. Okay, let's see what we got tonight. Thank you for tuning in, B Sizzo. Okay, all right. You guys ready for the Chuck Norris joke of the night? Here it is. Okay, here we go. I will see you Thursday night at 6:30. All right, here we go. At Chuck Norris's bachelor party, he ate the entire cake before his friends could tell him there was a stripper in it. And on that note, stay Cali-based.